What if I told you that 99% of men unknowingly miss one thing that instantly makes a woman feel safe, seen, and subtly drawn in? No, it's not what you say. It's not how much money you make. It's not even how good you look. It's something far deeper, something most men never learn because no one ever told them to look for it. And yet, women feel it instantly. It slips past their logic and goes straight into their nervous system. The moment it happens, everything changes. You don't have to chase. You don't have to impress. You just become unforgettable. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a man who seems to have it all: good looks, success, confidence, but when it comes to women, the connection just doesn't land? There's no spark, no depth, no emotional imprint that lingers when he walks away. And here's the truth. No one tells you it's not because he's missing something big. It's because he's overlooking a handful of small, almost invisible triggers, psychological signals that women deeply crave, but rarely speak about. And that's exactly what I'm about to give you. Not recycled dating tips, not surface-level alpha male tactics. What you're about to hear are 8 hidden psychological triggers, backed by both neuroscience and ancient Stoic wisdom, that awaken a woman's emotions in ways she can't quite explain, but never forgets. These aren't techniques to manipulate. These are tools to reveal the most grounded, magnetic version of yourself. The kind of presence that makes her feel drawn in before she even realizes why. Imagine this. What if you could understand the silent language of attraction? What if you could tap into her subconscious so deeply? She feels something shift every time you're near, not through effort, not through performance, but through a stillness, a clarity, a quiet confidence most men never embody. The truth is, you don't need to become someone else. You simply need to become more of who you are, more intentional, more present, more aware of the subtle ways connection is built. Because without this awareness, you'll always feel like you're chasing something just out of reach. And with it, you'll watch her lean in without even knowing why. So stay with me until the end. Because trigger number 8, it's the one that changes everything. It flips the entire dynamic. Once you understand it, you'll never see attraction the same way again. And more importantly, she'll never see you the same way again either. If you're serious about stepping into that version of yourself, the version most men never become, then hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what we're diving into now isn't just about women. It's about you becoming the man she's been waiting to feel safe around. Let's begin. Secret 1. The power of touch. Before intimacy. Picture this. You're on a date. The mood is light. Conversation flowing. She's laughing. Her eyes meet yours with interest. Everything on the surface feels right. And yet, something's off. There's a subtle distance, a silence behind her smile. You drop her off. You send a text. And then, nothing. Just silence. No reply. No explanation. Just that familiar feeling of being close, but never quite landing. Most men at that point start questioning the words. Was the conversation interesting enough? Did I say something wrong? But the truth is, it wasn't about what you said. It was about what you didn't do. See? Most men believe connection is built through conversation. But for women, connection is experienced through the body, through energy, through presence. And there's one simple yet powerful gesture that creates emotional intimacy faster than any story you could ever tell. It's not about sex. It's not about seduction. It's about touch. Not aggressive, not awkward, not rehearsed, but intentional, subtle, present, the kind of touch that doesn't demand anything, but communicates everything. I'm talking about a gentle, slow, non-sexual massage before intimacy. Sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But this isn't about rubbing her shoulders for 5 seconds and hoping she melts. It's about entering the space where your touch becomes language, where your hands speak trust, where your presence is felt without a single word. You see, for women, physical touch isn't just stimulation. It's safety. It's signal. It's surrender. When you touch her with intention, without rushing, without performing, you're telling her, I see you. I feel you. You can exhale now. And here's the magic: when she feels that kind of calm in your presence, her entire nervous system relaxes. And when that happens, she opens. Not just physically, but emotionally. This is what separates the man she enjoys from the man she remembers. Because almost no one does this. Not because they're unwilling, but because they're unaware. They're too focused on what's next. They're chasing the moment, rather than creating it. But a man who slows down, who pauses, who offers that subtle act of care, before expecting anything in return, that man awakens something primal, something ancient. Because deep down, every woman is looking for the man who doesn't just want her, but holds her, not to take, but to anchor. And if you think this is just spiritual fluff, think again. Studies in neurobiology show that slow, attentive touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It lowers cortisol, her stress levels. It regulates breathing. It shifts her out of defense and into desire. And yet 99% of men miss this because they're too focused on the outcome, too in their heads, too performative. But here's the Stoic angle. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What a good man should be one." That means don't overthink it, don't calculate, don't manipulate, just be present. Let your actions speak. Let your energy lead. Your touch doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be true. And truth is felt. Women are intuitive. They sense when a man is acting from presence and when he's pretending. So if you go through the motions, hoping for a reward, she'll feel it. But if you offer your presence without expectation, she'll melt without knowing why. This kind of touch isn't performance. It's leadership. It's awareness. It's choosing stillness in a world full of noise. And that's rare. That's magnetic. That's the kind of masculine energy that leaves a mark. So next time you're with her, before the tension rises, before anything moves forward, slow everything down. Sit beside her. Place your hand on her back, on her shoulder. Let your fingertips move slowly, without urgency. Let her feel the weight of your calm. Not to get something, but to give something she doesn't even know she's craving. In that moment, you're not just touching her skin, you're touching her nervous system, her emotional body, her trust. And trust is the gateway to connection. Most men skip this step, and that's why they remain forgettable. But you won't, because you understand now. It's not about what you take from her. It's about what your presence gives. Touch her like that. And she'll remember you, even when she's trying not to. Secret 2. Flirting with confidence and respect. Flirting is an art. And like any true art, most men get it completely wrong. They either try too hard, coming off as pushy, loud, desperate for a reaction, or they hold back, completely paralyzed by fear, afraid to make a mistake, overthinking every word until the moment passes. But here's the truth, brother. Women love flirting. They crave it. Not the forced kind, not the sleazy, scripted lines, but the kind that makes her feel alive, seen, playfully challenged, desired but never disrespected. The secret is this: real flirting isn't about trying to get her. It's about enjoying the moment with her. Most men flirt like it's a transaction. If I say this, she'll like me. If I act this way, she'll give me attention. But that energy is repelling. It's neediness in disguise. And women, they feel it instantly. But the man who flirts from presence, who leads the moment with grounded confidence, not only stands out, he becomes unforgettable. Because here's what flirting actually is. It's the space between tension and trust. It's the dance between masculine stillness and playful spark. It's not about what you say, it's how you say it, how you look at her, how your energy lands without needing to explain. The best flirting feels effortless because it's not being forced. It arises naturally, like rhythm, like timing, like jazz. You don't need to be the funniest guy in the room. You don't need lines. What you need is awareness. Eye contact that lingers just long enough to say, "I see you." A smirk that suggests you're enjoying yourself not to impress, but because you're grounded. A light tease delivered with warmth not to belittle, but to invite her playfulness to the surface. Let me give you an example. She tells you she's obsessed with a certain type of food. Most guys would say, "Oh, nice, I love that too," trying to align, to match, to be agreeable. But you lean back slightly and say, "Really, that's the best you've got. Clearly, you haven't tasted mine." You smile not because you're trying to win, but because you're enjoying the play. It's not arrogant. It's playful challenge. It creates spark, polarity. And polarity is the root of attraction. But here's where most men fail. The moment they sense she's not laughing, they panic. They switch into validation mode, apologize, backpedal, or worse, try harder. And that's the death of attraction. Because flirting is never about pushing. It's about flow, about reading the moment, not forcing it. The confident man doesn't flirt to gain approval. He flirts because he's enjoying himself with or without her reaction. That's what makes it powerful. It's a subtle demonstration of abundance, of control, of inner security. Now let's talk presence. Because flirting without presence is like dancing off beat. It feels wrong, and she feels it instantly. When you flirt, are you watching her body language? Her smile? Her breathing, does she lean in? Does her voice soften? These are the cues that matter. A man who's dialed in will flirt like a musician listens to the music, not just the notes, but the silence between them. And don't underestimate body language. Words are maybe 10%. The rest eye contact, a raised eyebrow, a slow blink, a pause right after a tease. Those things, they say everything. A soft touch on her elbow, a gentle lean in, followed by pulling back with a smile. It creates tension, energy, excitement, and most importantly, it creates safety in contrast. Because you're not just pushing forward, you're leading with rhythm, with calibration, with respect. Flirting is not about convincing her. It's about allowing her to feel free in your presence. Free to laugh. Free to respond. Free to explore her own desire without pressure. That's the sweet spot. Where attraction flows naturally. Where both of you enjoy the game because neither of you is trying to win. And this, brother, is where Stoic philosophy comes in. A high-value man doesn't flirt for outcome. He flirts because he's alive, because he enjoys the dance of connection without losing himself in it. He doesn't chase the laugh. He allows it. He doesn't depend on her reaction to validate his worth. He knows who he is with or without applause. So here's the question. Are you flirting to impress? Or are you flirting because you're already full? Are you needing her to respond? Or are you simply offering your energy and letting her meet it? That difference, though invisible, is everything. Women can feel it without a word. It's in your tone, in your eyes, in the way you take up space without overstepping. So next time you're with her, relax. Don't try to perform. Don't rush to the punchline. Let your energy be light. Let the space breathe. Make a comment, then watch her. Tease her, then let it sit. Smile not because you're trying to seem confident, but because you are. And if she teases back beautiful, that's the dance. If she doesn't, no problem. You're still enjoying the rhythm. Remember, true masculinity doesn't beg for connection. It leads with presence. And presence is what makes your flirting magnetic. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. So master this, and you'll stop chasing moments. You'll start creating them. Secret 3, the power of touching her hair. Most men never think twice about it. To them, it's just hair, a style, a look. But to a woman, her hair is far more than something aesthetic. It's part of her identity, her mood, her femininity, her energy. And when a man touches it at the right moment, in the right way, it doesn't just feel good. It feels seen. It feels intimate. It speaks to her nervous system in a language words can't replicate. And that's exactly why most men miss it. Because they only think in terms of logic. They don't realize that intimacy isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's a single fingertip brushing a strand of hair from her face with presence, with stillness, with care. Now, here's the thing. Touching her hair isn't something you just do to check a box. It's not a move. It's not a tactic. It's a moment, a sacred one. And like any sacred moment, it has to be earned. If you rush it, she'll pull away. If you force it, it'll feel invasive. But if you wait, if you attune, if you allow space to warm, it becomes magnetic. Why? Because the scalp is one of the most sensitive areas of the body. It's full of nerve endings, connected to her emotional centers. It's where tension hides, where stress lingers. And when you touch it gently, intentionally, you're not just triggering physical sensation, you're triggering safety. And safety, brother, is the doorway to surrender. Not just physical surrender, but emotional openness. Because when a woman feels safe, she lets go. She lets down. And that's when connection becomes real. But here's the key timing. You don't touch her hair on a first date. You don't reach for it while she's speaking if there's no warmth between you. You don't invade her space. You read it. You feel her energy. You sense her breath. You notice the way she looks at you when silence fills the space. You wait for that moment, the one where she's leaned in, not away, where her voice softens, where her eyes search yours. That's the space where touch becomes an invitation, not a disruption. Imagine this. You're sitting with her, conversation flowing. There's a pause, a softness in the air. A strand of hair falls across her cheek. And without overthinking, you slowly reach forward, gently brushing it behind her ear. No words, just presence. That one motion done with ease and groundedness says more than compliments ever could. It says, I'm here. I see you. I'm in tune with you. That's not game. That's connection. That's leadership. That's masculinity felt without volume. But here's where most men go wrong. They touch her hair like it's just another thing, absent-mindedly, mechanically, like they're following a checklist. But women aren't stupid. They feel everything. If your energy isn't aligned, if your touch is coming from performance, from agenda, from insecurity, she'll feel it instantly. And her body will close. Her guard will rise. Not because she's cold, but because something in her instinct says, this isn't safe. That's why awareness matters more than action, presence more than performance. From a Stoic perspective, this is emotional discipline. It's restraint. It's reading the moment without being ruled by impulse. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That applies here. You don't touch her hair just because you want to. You wait until the moment asks for it. That's the difference between need and attunement, between grasping and guiding, between being a man and being the man. And here's the beauty of it. When you touch her hair with presence, it's not just about the physical. It awakens contrast, her softness against your stillness, her receptivity against your calm, her breath quickening as your touch slows everything down. That contrast creates chemistry, not through effort, but through polarity. And polarity is the force women crave more than logic, more than perfection, more than anything you can say. Let me make this clear, this isn't about control. It's about awareness. Power without pressure, strength without stiffness, energy without ego. When done right, touching her hair becomes a gateway into emotional connection. It shows her you're paying attention, that you're not just watching her, you're feeling her, that you're not seeking a reaction. You're offering presence, and presence is everything. So next time you're with her, don't rush, don't grab, don't plan. Wait, watch. Sense the invitation before it's ever spoken. And when that moment comes, let your hand move with calm. Let your fingers brush gently across her temple. Let the silence stretch. Let the tension build, not because you're trying to make something happen, but because you trust the moment. That's when it lands. That's when she feels it. That's when you're no longer just another man in her life, but the one whose touch made her feel safe in her skin. Secret 4. The hand on her back in public. It's such a small gesture, so subtle that most men overlook it entirely. A light touch, a simple move, barely even noticed on the surface. And yet it speaks volumes. When done right, a man's hand on a woman's lower back becomes one of the most powerful unspoken signals of leadership, confidence, and quiet masculine protection. And it doesn't need words, because the moment she feels it, her body understands what her mind may not even register. She feels guided, held, and safe. Picture this. You're walking side by side, maybe through a crowded restaurant or down a narrow street. You're a few steps ahead as you move to open the door. And without thinking, without making a big deal of it, you place your hand gently, firmly on the small of her back, just enough to guide her forward. Just enough for her to feel the presence of a man who leads without needing to dominate. That's not control. That's not manipulation. That is quiet authority. Most men hesitate in that moment. They overthink it. Is this okay? Will she find it weird? And in their hesitation, they miss it. The rhythm breaks. The energy collapses. And the space that could have been charged with subtle chemistry just dissolves. But the man who moves with certainty, with ease, with presence, doesn't hesitate. He doesn't second-guess his own groundedness. He trusts his body. He trusts the moment. And because of that, she trusts him. The key here is intent. This isn't about claiming her. This isn't about showing off. This isn't some performative alpha move to prove something. No, this is about signaling safety. A man who touches her back in public with calm confidence communicates one thing above all else. I'm here. I'm aware. I've got you. And that message is rare. Women live in a world where they're constantly scanning for safety. Not just physical safety, but emotional safety, social safety, energetic safety. So when your hand finds the center of her back with just the right amount of pressure, not too much, not too little, it bypasses her logic and speaks straight to her instincts. It says, "Relax. I'm grounded." You don't have to carry the tension anymore. But don't get it twisted. This only works when your energy is clear. If you're unsure of yourself, if you're doing it just to get a reaction, if you're seeking her approval as you touch her, she'll feel it. Her body will stiffen. Her energy will retreat, because the body doesn't lie. That's why this gesture, as small as it is, requires deep internal alignment. You can't fake leadership. You become it. And when you do, everything changes. This is where Stoic philosophy shines. Because true strength is never about noise. It's not about grand gestures. It's not about taking up space for attention. It's about mastering yourself first. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That is the core of this secret. You don't need her to recognize your strength. You embody it silently, through action, through presence, through the stillness behind every move. So what makes this gesture work? It's the calmness in your breath, the relaxation in your shoulders, the way you touch her without asking for anything in return. You're not trying to be sexy. You're not trying to be liked. You're simply leading. And that, brother, is what women remember. That's what makes her energy soften next to yours. That's what makes her lean in, not just with her body, but with her trust. And yet most men miss this moment, either because they're too afraid to take the lead, or because they overcompensate and do it with force. But this isn't about pressure. It's about precision. It's about awareness. A man who's tuned in will know when the moment calls for it. He'll feel her energy before she says a word. He won't need permission. Not because he's entitled, but because he's attuned. Let me paint the picture. You're out together. The night's going well. Laughter, eye contact, that slow-growing warmth between you. As you walk toward the exit, you take a slight step ahead, not to leave her behind, but to open the way. And as she follows, your hand moves gently to the small of her back. For just a second, no words, no performance, just presence. That 1 second imprints something deeper than a compliment ever could. It tells her, you're with a man who leads with care. And here's the most important part. You don't look at her to see how she reacts. You don't wait for her to validate you. You simply do it. And then you keep walking. Because that's what a grounded man does. He leads. He doesn't perform. He moves through life with quiet direction. And in doing so, he invites her into that energy without pressure, without demand, just presence. Remember, in a world full of loud men trying to prove something, the one who moves in silence, with certainty, becomes unforgettable. So next time you're walking with her, don't hesitate. Don't overthink. Let your body speak what your words never need to say. Let your presence guide her. Let your energy say, I've got you, not to control, not to claim, but because I move with intention. And in my space, you're safe. Secret 5, be her hero, the protector. Let's pause for a second and get brutally honest about something most men feel deep inside, but almost never say out loud. The quiet urge to protect, to lead, to be the anchor when everything around her feels like it's falling apart. It's not about dominance. It's not about control. It's something far more ancient, far more sacred. It's the part of you that wants to shield, not suffocate, to stand tall, not to chase, to create calm in the chaos, not to escape it. And here's the truth, she feels it when it's real. and she craves it more than she'll ever admit. You see, modern culture often teaches men that women don't need protection, that strength should be silent, that softness is weakness. But none of that holds up when she's overwhelmed, when she's in her emotions, when life is hitting her from every angle and she doesn't even know why she feels the way she does. In those moments, she doesn't want a fixer. She doesn't need a rescuer. What she needs is a man who doesn't flinch when the storm hits, a man who can hold his ground when everything in her is unraveling. Because the truth is, being her protector isn't about solving problems. It's not about fixing her emotions like broken furniture. It's about creating space, emotional space where she can fall apart, without fear of losing you. It's about staying steady when she tests you, not to hurt you, but to see if your foundation is real. Because if you crumble under pressure, she knows she can't lean on you when it truly matters. The protector doesn't speak loudly. He doesn't boast. He doesn't throw his weight around trying to prove he's the man. No, his strength is quiet. His presence is felt, not in words, but in his stillness, in his breath, in the way he listens, not just with his ears, but with his eyes, and most importantly, with his calm. Imagine this. She's had a hard day. Her emotions are running high. She starts venting, maybe even snapping, and every part of you wants to either shut it down or fix it. But instead, you sit, you breathe, you hold, you don't interrupt, you don't make it about you. You don't look for the exit. You become the grounding energy she's searching for. You become the eye of the storm. That right there is protection. And it's rare. Most men react. They argue. They take it personally. Or they flee. But you stay. Not because you're trying to win points, but because that's who you are. A man who doesn't need her to be perfect in order to be present. A man who doesn't collapse when emotions rise. A man who doesn't disappear when things get difficult. And let me be clear, being her protector doesn't mean being her emotional sponge. It doesn't mean tolerating chaos, disrespect, or instability. It doesn't mean becoming her therapist. What it means is that you protect your own peace first. You master your own emotions. Because a man who can't hold himself will never be able to hold space for her. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes a living truth. Seneca once said, "No man was ever wise by chance." You don't stumble into this kind of masculinity. You build it through discipline, through integrity, through presence. Not to impress her, not to prove something, but because it's your nature. It's your code. It's the kind of man you choose to be even when no one's watching. And here's the paradox. The more grounded you are, the more she softens. Not because you forced her to, but because you gave her permission to let go. She doesn't have to carry everything anymore. She doesn't have to lead emotionally. She doesn't have to fight for control. Because now, she's next to a man who makes her feel safe enough to be fully feminine, fully emotional, fully herself. And let me tell you, brother, that's what she's been waiting for. Not the smooth talker, not the tough guy, not the fixer, but the protector. The one whose energy says you're safe here. Not through words, but through presence, through patience, through unwavering emotional stillness. So what does that look like in practice? It means staying calm when she's upset. It means letting her feel without rushing to conclusions. It means offering silence when needed, and words only when they bring clarity. It means stepping up in stressful moments with a quiet authority that tells her you've got this. Not because you're pretending to be strong, but because you are. It means not needing to say, "I've got you," because the way you move already says it. The way you look at her, the way you walk, the way you breathe. All of it whispers a truth her nervous system picks up before her mind can explain it. And that truth is, I'm here. I'm solid. I'm not going anywhere. But again, this isn't about enduring emotional abuse. This isn't about becoming her emotional dumping ground. This is about strength with boundaries, compassion with standards, leadership with self-respect. Because if you can't protect your own emotional space, she won't feel safe in it either. So here's the bottom line. Stop trying to impress her with words. Stop chasing approval with performance. Start leading with presence. Because the man she trusts the most is the one who remains unmoved when it matters most, the one who listens without fixing, the one who holds space without fear, the one who protects not just her body but the energy she brings into the room. That is the hero, the protector. And when she meets him, she never forgets. Secret 6, the charm of a beard. Let's talk about something that seems purely physical on the surface, a detail most men either take for granted or never even consider as meaningful: the beard. Just facial hair? Right. Just a style, a grooming choice, a trend that comes and goes depending on what's fashionable. But for a woman, when done right, a beard isn't just hair. It's a signal. It's a message. It's a quietly powerful reminder that the man wearing it has stepped into something beyond image, something ancestral, something she feels even if she doesn't fully understand why. You see, the beard has always been more than appearance. Across cultures, across centuries, it's been a symbol of age, of strength, of maturity, of presence. And when you carry it with intention, not just as a style, but as an extension of who you are, it awakens something in her that words can't reach. Because a well-kept beard, trimmed with care, shaped with awareness, doesn't just say, "I have facial hair." It says, "I know who I am." That's what hits her. That's what draws her in. It's not the beard itself. It's the man behind it. The one who doesn't follow trends, but chooses presence over polish. The one who doesn't sculpt his face to impress others, but allows his presence to express itself naturally. The one who knows that masculinity isn't something you put on. It's something you grow into. Now don't get me wrong. Not every woman loves a beard. Some prefer clean-shaven, some like a little stubble. Others melt over the full lumberjack look. But regardless of taste, there's one thing they all respond to: energy, ownership, identity. A man who wears his look not as decoration but as definition. Because when you walk into a room with a beard that's been cared for, shaped, respected, it speaks before you do. It says, this man doesn't chase validation. He carries his edge in silence. Let's take it a level deeper. Psychologically, facial hair represents contrast, texture, polarity. And polarity is the foundation of attraction. Masculine edge, feminine softness, her smoothness against your roughness, her breath brushing your jawline as her fingers move along your beard. That moment, that contrast, that sensation, it's not just physical, it's emotional, and it lingers long after she pulls away. But here's where most men get it wrong. They grow a beard to look like something, to seem older, tougher, more manly. But what happens? It grows wild. It gets patchy, uncared for, because the energy underneath is still ungrounded. And that's the key. A powerful beard is never just about the beard. It's about the discipline behind it, the detail, The quiet decision to say, this is how I show up, not for you, not for applause, but because it reflects who I've become. And that reflection matters, because when a woman sees a man whose outer world mirrors his inner world, she feels safe. She feels magnetized, not by looks, but by alignment. She may not even be able to explain it, but her body responds. Because true masculinity doesn't need to be loud. It just is. And your beard, when aligned with that energy, becomes a reminder, a whisper, a pulse, that this man doesn't shrink. He doesn't chase. He doesn't mask. He embodies. Now here's the subtle beauty. A well-kept beard tells her something few men ever say. It says, I care about how I carry myself. I notice the details. I take responsibility for my presence. And that message is felt. It's not about perfection. It's about purpose. It's not about grooming to impress. It's about grooming with intent, with ownership, with masculine clarity. And when she runs her fingers along your beard, she's not just enjoying texture. She's reading you. She's feeling the man beneath the surface. She's sensing whether this is just an aesthetic choice or a reflection of something deeper. And if it is, if your beard is the external echo of your internal strength, then her nervous system responds in kind. She lets go. She leans in. She opens. But let's not forget what Epictetus once said. Know first who you are, then adorn yourself accordingly. That's the whole game. You don't grow a beard to become a man. You become a man, and the beard follows. You don't use it to hide. You let it represent, to stand for something, to signal something. And that something is you. Calm, grounded, unapologetic. So whether you choose to grow a full beard, keep a clean shave, or wear just enough to keep the edge, let it come from alignment, from knowing, from truth. Because in the end, it's not about the beard. It's about the energy behind it. And when that energy is rooted, when it's steady, when it's fully claimed, she doesn't need you to explain anything. She already feels it. That is the quiet charm of a beard done right, a message delivered without words. A presence that turns heads not because it's loud, but because it's real. Secret 7, the power of shared laughter. Let me ask you something, brother. When was the last time you made a woman really laugh? I'm not talking about polite smiles, not that your funny kind of chuckle that follows an awkward pause. I mean the real thing, that raw, unguarded, can't hold it in kind of laughter. The kind that spills out of her before she can stop it. The kind that makes her throw her head back, lose her breath for a second, and reach out to touch your arm without even realizing it. That moment, that spark, is far more powerful than most men ever understand. Because here's the truth. Laughter isn't just fun. It's not just a way to entertain her. It's intimacy. It bypasses all her filters. It drops her guard. It slips past logic and lands straight in her nervous system. You can say all the right things. You can look the part. But if you can make her laugh, really laugh, you create something deeper than attraction. You create emotional memory. A feeling she can't forget, even if she tries. Why? Because when she laughs, her body releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same one that's triggered during touch, during trust, during intimacy. And in that moment, when she's laughing with you, she isn't analyzing, she's not protecting, she's not comparing, she's feeling. And that feeling becomes associated with you. Suddenly, you're not just the guy she's talking to. You're the man who makes her feel lighter, freer, more herself. Most men miss this. They're so focused on being impressive, on being strong, stoic, mysterious, serious, calculated. And sure, those things matter. A woman wants to feel your strength. She wants to feel your presence. But if that's all you bring, she may admire you, but she won't miss you. She may respect you, but she won't remember you in that raw, emotional way that keeps her thinking about you days later. Laughter is the glue between attraction and connection. It's the breath between tension, the exhale after intensity. It's what tells her, with this man, I can let go. And that space where she doesn't have to perform, where she doesn't have to be perfect, where she can simply feel joy is what makes her want to stay close. But here's the key. It's not about trying to be funny. It's not about forcing jokes or memorizing punchlines. It's about being light, being present, not taking yourself so seriously, flirting with the moment, not performing for her but enjoying the exchange with her. And that energy, that freedom, that unbothered joy, it's magnetic. Imagine this. You're out with her. Maybe it's quiet, low key, nothing over the top. And then something small happens, something nobody else would even notice. A moment, a look, a line, and you make a dry, perfectly timed comment. She tries to hold it in, but she can't. She loses it. Her face lights up. Her walls drop. That moment right there is a turning point. Because it wasn't planned, it wasn't scripted, it was yours. Shared, real, and that's what makes it unforgettable. Here's the beautiful irony. She may not remember the exact words, the exact joke, but she'll remember how she felt around you. She'll remember that her body felt lighter, that her chest opened up, that, in your presence, the world felt less heavy, and in a life full of noise, tension, and pressure, that experience becomes addictive, not because you solved her problems, but because you gave her something most men never do: ease. But be warned, many men get this wrong. They think laughter is weakness, that it kills mystery, that if they're playful, they'll lose her respect. But the opposite is true. The man who can create joy without losing his edge is rare. He's dangerous. Because he knows how to shift the energy of the room without saying much. He doesn't laugh to be accepted. He laughs because he's free, because he's untouchable by the weight of performance, because he owns his presence so deeply that he can relax inside of it. And let's not forget what Marcus Aurelius said. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. That's the core of masculine power, the ability to reframe, to shift, to lead her back to ease. And laughter is that shift. It's leadership without control. It's intimacy without touch. It's chemistry without effort. So if you've spent years being the serious guy, if you've forgotten what it's like to simply enjoy a moment with a woman without needing to impress, bring that back. Not because it's a tactic, but because it's who you are beneath the armor. Because the man who can make her laugh with him, not at her, not for her, but with her, is the man she trusts, the man she remembers, the man she wants close, not just when life is good, but when it gets heavy. Because laughter is a signal of safety, of emotional freedom, of shared space. And when it's real, when it's mutual, when it's unguarded, it becomes the kind of connection she can't explain, but never forgets. Secret 8, the power of dreams. Let's go deeper, beyond the attraction, beyond the teasing, the tension, the chemistry, beyond the subtle touches and magnetic eye contact. Let's talk about the one thing that makes a woman look at you, not just with desire, but with respect, something she may never ask for with words. but her soul is watching for it every time she meets a man. A dream, a vision, a direction. The fire in your eyes when you speak about something bigger than both of you. Because here's the truth. Brother, every man wants to be loved. But not every man is walking towards something worth loving. Most are just existing, floating, working jobs they don't care about, killing time, drowning in distraction, and then wondering why she pulls away, why the spark fades, why she can't stay connected. But the answer is simple. She doesn't feel your mission. And if she doesn't feel your mission, she can't fully trust your masculine energy. See, it's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not even about achieving something specific. What she's drawn to is the movement, the direction, the clarity in your posture. The way you say, I can't stay long, I've got things to build. And you mean it. That edge, that discipline, that sacred selfishness. It's magnetic because it tells her, this man won't lose himself in me. He won't make me the center of his life. He's already whole, and he's going somewhere, and that is everything. Most men think women want to be prioritized above all else. That love means making her your world. But that's the opposite of attraction, because when she becomes your everything, she has nothing to orbit around. She needs to feel your gravity, your purpose, your pull, that you are rooted in something deeper than her, that your life has meaning beyond the moment. And when she senses that you become safe to surrender to, because you're not asking her to lead the emotional direction, you're already walking it. And here's the twist. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect 5-year plan or $1 million blueprint. What matters is movement, is hunger, is vision. That when you speak about what you're building, your eyes change, your voice deepens, your energy sharpens. And in that moment, she feels something primal. She feels your masculine core come alive, not because you're chasing her, but because you're chasing something true. Imagine this. You're sitting across from her. She asks, so what do you really want? And instead of fumbling or giving vague answers, you look her in the eye and tell her about the business you're building, the book you're writing, the impact you want to leave behind, the version of yourself you're becoming. Not to impress her, not to win her over, but because you believe in it. That's the kind of energy she leans into. That's when her breath slows, her posture softens, because now she's not with a boy trying to be liked. She's with a man going somewhere with or without her. And ironically, that's what makes her want to come with you. Because when a woman feels that your dream is alive, she knows you are. You're not stagnant. You're not lost. You're not waiting for permission. You're becoming. And that process, that momentum, that masculine fire, it awakens something in her that no compliment, no dinner date, no charming line ever could. But make no mistake, this dream must be yours, not borrowed, not fake, not something you post for validation. It has to burn inside you. It has to wake you up early and keep you up late. It has to cost you something, your time, your comfort, your distraction, because that cost is what makes it real. And when she feels how much it matters to you, she sees you differently. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Your dream is the adornment of your masculine identity. It's what gives your presence weight. It's what gives your energy depth. Without it, you're just floating, reacting, grasping. But with it, you become magnetic, grounded, focused, and irresistible in a way that no surface-level charm can fake. So if you're wondering why she loses interest after a few weeks, if you're tired of chasing, of performing, of feeling like connection slips through your fingers, ask yourself this: what am I building? What am I chasing that has nothing to do with her? What is the mountain I'm climbing? Whether she comes with me or not, because that's the energy that changes everything. Not, how do I get her to like me? But, how do I become the man who can carry the dream I was born to build? When you walk with that kind of clarity, she feels it. When you speak from that place, she listens differently. And when she sees that you will keep becoming with or without her, she starts seeing you as the one man she doesn't want to risk losing. So here's the final truth. The deepest, most hidden trigger of attraction isn't about her at all. It's about your relationship with your purpose, your mission, your reason for waking up like a man. Because when you lead your life with vision, she follows your energy not because she has to, but because she wants to. That is the power of dreams. And that's what separates you from the 99%. Now you know. These weren't just tricks. They weren't empty strategies or surface-level tactics. They were the quiet truths, the hidden psychological triggers that speak louder than words, because they speak directly to her nervous system. 8 subtle shifts, 8 timeless principles, not just of attraction, but of masculine presence, of grounded leadership, of emotional strength, of becoming the man who doesn't just get her attention, but earns her trust. And if you've made it here, if you've listened all the way through, it means something in you already knows. You're not here to impress. You're not here to chase. You're here to become, to lead with calm, to speak with clarity, to move through the world as the rare kind of man who no longer begs to be chosen because he's already chosen himself. And that's the difference. Brother, that's the shift. The man she truly desires isn't the loudest. He's not the flashiest. He's the one who's unshakable, unmoved, deeply rooted in who he is. And because of that, she can finally relax. She can soften. She can let go. Because she's standing next to something she rarely finds in this world. A man who doesn't need her to be complete, but who welcomes her into his fullness. So if this message hit something inside you, if you felt your posture shift, your breath slow, your vision sharpen, then take a second right now and claim it. Comment below, I lead with presence. Let that be your anchor. Let it be the standard you hold yourself to from this moment on. And if you found value here, real value, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with a brother who needs it. Someone who's forgotten what it means to stand tall without noise. Someone who's been trying too hard. Or maybe not trying at all. You never know whose life you shift just by hitting send. Lastly, if you want to go deeper, if you're ready to continue this journey of stepping into grounded, high-value masculinity, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications. Because this isn't just content. This is a mirror, a reminder, a space where men remember who they truly are. And from here forward, that's exactly what you are. A man of presence, a man of calm power, a man she doesn't forget, not because of what he says, but because of how she feels in his presence.